And good evening, everybody. Welcome to Going Nuclear, full-blown coverage of the land. I'm Ethan Greenberg, and alongside of me is my co-host, Mike Rasinski. We are part of Collected and Connected, a good vibes community. Thank you all for tuning in once again. Wow. Is it already Tuesday?
It is Tuesday.
Or is it
It is.
only Tuesday?
Well, it depends on where your perspective's coming from, I guess. If you think about politics and everything, it's probably, oh, it's only Tuesday. But if it's sports, it's all right, it's Tuesday because this is one of the better sports seasons. You have baseball's about to start, NCAA tournaments going on, basketball's in the final swing before the playoffs. You got football free agency to talk about and pre-draft. It's actually this is one of my favorite times in sports.
There is an awful lot going on. You mentioned it, and I think let's just go to it first. Go to it first because we kind of left this last time we talked. We were just about getting ready for March Madness, which kicked off. There was the first four, of course, in the men's and the women's, both. But then the regular March Madness, the Field of 64, kicked off for the men on Thursday. And you had mentioned that you filled out a bracket using Chat GPT. And oh yes, we do wish it was Thursday, Mike, for basketball. Oh, you probably mean baseball.
Baseball and basketball. Thursday's a good day for sports.
Thursday is going to be a great day for us. So how are you doing in your Chat GPT bracket?
Okay, so I'm in 4th place out of 26. So
that's
not bad.
Shabby. How many wins you got?
So I of the Sweet 16, I have 12 of the 16 still in it. So
75%.
Yeah, it's not bad. It was very chalky, so it didn't pick a lot of upsets. And as it turns out, there actually are not a lot of upsets in the Sweet 16s. There's a few, and I missed those. It did have me pick Akron. I wholly regret that because Akron never wins an NCAA tournament game, and they don't even make it close. But other than that, I feel fairly solid. I have the 3rd most points remaining too. I picked Florida to go to the finals, so that one's going to hurt. But
ouch, that is absolutely going to hurt.
Yeah. But I am happy to see Florida lose.
I am as well. I absolutely am as well. To see the fact that they lost to Iowa, it's just kind of crazy. That wasn't where you wouldn't have expected them to get knocked out that early in the proceedings, as it were. I apologize. I was trying to bring up my my crappy bracket. So how many points do you have?
Total. So how they do total of 49.
Okay, so this is a little bit different. I don't know what system. So let me see how many of my Sweet 16 are still in. I believe I had picked correctly. I have both Duke and St. John's. I have both Michigan State and UConn. So that's good. Now I am completely out on the Iowa, where Iowa, Nebraska is. I was completely wrong. I thought that Nebraska was going to get upset. I believe that I actually had Troy to beat them. And then I had Vandy, and Vandy came up just short.
I had the same thing. Yep.
I've got both Illinois, or let's see. Actually, do I have that? I do. Okay, I have Illinois and Houston, so I'm up to 6.
Same. Okay.
Arizona. Now, did I have Arkansas? No, I did not. So I've got Arizona.
Okay.
I've got Purdue.
So I missed on that one. The Texas upsets. I did not pick
I've got
that.
Michigan, Alabama,
and
I've got Iowa State. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I ended up with 11.
That's good. That's good.
I ended up with 11, and it wasn't great. Obviously, not the fact that all 4 9 seeds won the game over the 8 seed is kind of impressive.
It is. Who do you have in your finals?
Oh, that's a good question. I know I have Arizona picked to win it. Now, I got to see if here we go. In the final 4, I have UConn, Houston, Arizona, and Michigan. So all those are still alive.
You're good. Yeah. Okay.
And then I've got Houston and Arizona, and I've got Arizona winning it.
Okay.
So I think I'm all right there. I think all right. So let's see. You lost. So Mike from across the pond Gonzaga, Vandy, Virginia, Florida, Texas Tech, and Sweet. So you lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So hey,
yeah,
11 as well. Oh, and he had Florida. It was his only Elite Eight that he lost. Okay, so I guess I'm already out on a couple of my Elite Eights, but I'm happy they still have Final Four.
Yeah,
it's there. That's kind of we'll
that's where the big points come in.
But yeah, and obviously I'm not winning anything, and I did it at the last minute, like literally after we did, the show. I think maybe on Thursday morning, is when I might have filled out a bracket. I was just like, all right, sure, whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm not playing for anything. And if I get them right, like in order to win ESPN's thing, I'd win a lot of money. But that ain't happening.
No, I bet you everybody's bracket. I bet you there's no remaining perfect brackets already.
I believe that's correct. Or maybe did I read somewhere, and I don't know if it was via ESPN or something else, maybe there were like 2 perfect brackets together, and at some point, one of them is going to lose. Like maybe it's a head, the two, like they've got some kind of a crossover. Oh, no, wait. So according to Mike from the UK, the last remaining perfect bracket got busted by Virginia.
It didn't take long. 2 rounds, already out.
That was awesome. Very excited to see that. What did you think about, for just to kind of keep it a little bit local here in our flavor, the Mid-American Conference performance? You already hit on Akron. They did not, have it just
lost by 20.
Yeah, it didn't go so well. They fought tough. Miami, though, were they ever really in that? I completely missed the game. They won their first 4 game, which I was upset about.
So, but then I have a question that. Do you consider that, so in their record books, can they say they won an NCAA tournament game?
No, I don't. Okay. That is a cop-out. That is an absolute cop-out. To be saying that you won your first 4 matchup and that should qualify in your record books as an NCAA, an NCAA game. And so first 4. So anyway, how do you think that reflects upon the MAC?
Well, it was good to at least see them win the first 4, I guess, to give the MAC a little bit of credibility. But both teams losing by 20 was not a great look. And I guess the Akron game, you can say, was competitive, but like they still lost by 20, so it didn't look good.
No, it didn't. I mean, again, what happened to them is what always seems to happen to them, which is, again, it's about they can shoot, right? And if their shots aren't falling, and I think that's what it is for a lot of these teams that are in the mid majors, is that you don't have the size. And so you've got to have your shots going, or you're going to be, kind of hosed. And, but it is what it is. And it was nice that 2 teams from the conference got in. I'd rather see 2 teams from a mid-major conference get in somehow, some way, than an undeserving team in a bigger conference. But on the counterpoint, and I'd have to look at the exact standings, Houston is still standing. They're going to the Texas is going to the Sweet 16. They were an 11 seed. And they had to go through the first 4 to get through. And we've seen it. It can happen. So
it can happen. So here's a question for you too. Just keeping it local. Will you be rooting for Akron's coach, Gross, to get hired away? It's happened to Kent so many times. When they get successful, their coaches get hired away. And then we have to, a lot of times, it takes us a while to find the right coach or rebuild,
Right.
I would love to see that happen to Akron. They've had a lot of success lately. Let some bigger school pick off their coach.
And I'm surprised it hasn't happened. Did you just see that Arizona State is finally hiring away Randy Bennett from St. Mary's? They have been successful for like well over a decade.
Yeah.
Longer than that, just as long as probably like Kent State has had. And granted, and I'm talking about in terms of regular season success and all, and competing in your conference, and for St. Mary's, all this time going up against Gonzaga. Or for the longest time, I don't even know what conferences people are in anymore, to be quite frank. Right. Everything is out of control. So I want to just stop before I speak out of line there. So I don't know. I mean, Gross already got hired, and he was at Ohio.
Yes, right.
And they won a couple tournament games. It pulled some upsets, and he got hired away. Went to Illinois, and didn't do so well. He ends up getting back to the MAC. You saw a guy like Keith Dambrot. I mean, all these guys. Have any of the coaches? Now, this would be something that I have to research. How many coaches that ended up like leaving Kent State for greener pastures or larger things had further really sustained success?
So you had Gary Waters. He was our first successful coach in our era. He went to Rutgers, and then he came back to Cleveland State and coached them for quite a while. So he did not succeed at Rutgers. He had a really strong run at Cleveland State when he got back.
Yeah, he did. I don't know that they ever had any like NCAA success, but he made them solid. He really did.
Yeah.
And you've got Stan Heath went down to South. Did he go to South Florida first?
Where did I thought it was Missouri or something.
I know Dennis Gates from Cleveland State went out to Missouri.
Maybe
he's the most recent.
So Heath was University of South Florida, University of Arkansas,
and now he's back
at State.
And then he's back at Eastern. He's at Eastern Michigan now.
Let's see. I'm reading that he went to Eastern Michigan, so that might be. Is he coaching Eastern Michigan?
Yeah. As far as I know, unless they fired him this offseason already. But as far as I know, I mean, he was the last time I saw him. He was on the sideline for Eastern Michigan.
Yeah, you're right. I had no idea that he was back in the MAC.
Right. Jim Christian left. He went out to TCU. He made it around. He came back and was assisting Rob Senderoff. Let's see. And the other person I'm thinking of, I know his name. Gino Ford.
That's right. Yeah.
And did he go to Fairfield? I think Gino Ford went to and I don't think he had any extended success. So it's one of those things where
he went to Bradley.
Okay. Bradley. All right. I'm sorry.
And now he's at Stony Brook.
Okay. So, I mean, he's still in and he's doing, and I don't know which position or where Jim Christian just went, but it is tough. It is very tough. And I know they were talking about Herb Sendek. Why do I feel like he was a coach at some point he couldn't have been a coach at Miami of Ohio, right?
Herb Sendek.
He was from 93 to 96. He was a Miami of Ohio, and because he popped up because I was watching Santa Clara, and that was a crushing defeat. To Kentucky there. So anyway, so it's kind of March Madness. It's a little bit maddening. It's a little bit saddening. But it's all good. Obviously, Ohio State screwed most of us Ohioans right off the bat. losing to TCU. Way to go.
We don't. There's no more Ohio teams left, is there?
No. We're all gone. They're all on the Cancun to do the Team Cancun out there. So it is what it is. But so now we can sit back and relax.
Yeah. Upsets. Upsets are fun.
Exactly. It is. It is in fact maddening. My man Kenny, appreciate it. All right, so let's talk about some other stuff here. Then we're just doing a little abbreviated show here. For those of you who don't know, on Collecting and Connecting. Stay tuned to Collecting and Connecting. Stay tuned to the YouTube channel. We've got a special at 8 o'clock. I will be there and talking some baseball as Major League season is about ready to get things underway. So I guess let's talk about some Guardians. They win today. They finish the spring training 16-14-1. They had a tie. What are your impressions of how the spring went? Have you had an opportunity to look at what the projected roster is?
Well, what I've been following mostly is the outfield, because I feel like that's always been the question mark for the last few seasons for the Guards. Chase DeLauter looks like he might be the real deal, and he's healthy. That's the key. And it sounds like we have, Stephen Kwan maybe shifting over to center field, which
sure does.
Interesting when you have a 4-time Gold Glover in left field. Two thoughts to this. Why would you move him if he's that good in left? Or he is that good, put him in a position where he can actually cover more ground. So I can see why they're doing that. And it's hard to argue with what the Guards do, because they tend to make the right decisions a lot of times.
They do. They absolutely do. And a good point was brought up. So my man, Drew Hagenbaugh, who I do the Let's Go Crunch podcast with, and we'll be doing the Lair for Lorraine Leviathan FC coming up here soon. He was talking about the fact that Quan was a center fielder in college.
Yeah.
And it came up in the minors, and then, then he ends up going out to being in left field. So because center field was occupied for the guards, the Indians. I guess has he been only with the Guardians, or was he with the? I gotta look back and see how many years he's already been here. I think he's been here 4 years.
This is his 5th, I believe. Yeah.
Right. So Zach Meisel wrote his tentative roster: position players, catchers, Bo Naylor, Austin Hedges, David Fry. Okay, no surprises there.
And you heard Hedgie got hit in the hand today, so he's gonna be who knows for how long in the Stables list.
Cooper Ingle, bring up Cooper Ingle. I want to see him. And we need Bo Naylor to step up.
And at least we got David Fry back who can catch. That's good.
Exactly. Infielders, and this is the tentative roster: Jose Gaviarias, Rocchio, Manzardo, Reese Hoskins. He had a great day today. Or just a spring in general. Hoskins 2 for 2, hit 282 on the spring. So hopefully that's a good signing.
Right-handed power bat.
Yeah, bring him in, probably DH, first base, something of that nature. And Daniel Schneemann. Schneemann's been solid. He's been consistent.
I like Schneemann.
I don't mind him at all. I really don't. I like him. I got no beef with him. Outfield: Quan DeLauder, Angel Martinez, and CJ Kefis. And of course, this was one other thing Zach wrote: Kefis, Martinez, and Holderman have all made the Guardians opening day roster, barring any final external transactions. So that's really great. And then let's see the pitching staff: Bybee, who he makes me nervous; Williams, Ciccone. You nailed that Ciccone move last year before the season started. You talked about that, and it turned out that was an great piece of that the trades we made, and I'm glad that he has turned out to be so darn good. He's been invaluable.
Yeah.
Cantillo and Parker Messick. Logan Allen just completely fell apart. I mean,
it's good. Yeah, you're right. And this is after I wonder if the World Baseball Classic had something to do with it, because he pitched for Panama, it sounds like.
Logan Allen?
Yes.
Wow, how did I miss that?
I don't know. He's like, his mom's from Panama or something like that. I don't know. But the good thing is, like, hey, let him go to the minors. We have 5 good starters. He's quality depth that we can bring up. Cantillo always makes me nervous. I don't know why. It's just
I know why. I can
pitch, but we'll see. He's getting results, and I'm hoping that the pressure won't be on Bybee this year, because we have at least 2 other really solid starters.
In Williams and Ciccone.
Exactly. So hopefully he can relax a little bit and not have the pressure of the number 1 starter, even though I think he's going to be the opening day starter, sounds like.
I believe he is. I do believe he is. And hopefully he decides not to have Chipotle the day of or day before and doesn't get sick.
True.
The bullpen, again, this is according to Zach Meisel: Cade Smith. He's got to be on his game all year to be shutting it down. At the back end of the bullpen, Sean Armstrong, who we picked up in the offseason. He was with the Reds previously, right, Mike? I believe that's where he was last.
Okay.
We've got Sabrowski back.
Mm-hmm.
Tim Herron. And I can't believe Matt Festa made the roster.
Yeah. Well, it's
not a Festivus for the rest of us.
Yeah.
Effectively made me angry every time. Peyton Pallette, Connor Brogdon, and Colin Holderman. And as Mike said from the UK, Bybee giving up first pitch home runs annoys me. Oh, it annoys us all.
Yes, that's true. It does.
Well, the day after Logan Allen gave up 10 runs in an inning and then came back out and gave up more runs, Bybee gave up 8 the next day.
Yeah. Spring training. It's spring training.
I can't help but feel nervous. But then yesterday, Chase DeLauder, isn't it nice to have another guy we're like, we don't want to say his whole name. We're just going to give him initials, CDL,
There you go. Yeah.
And I'm not driving a truck. We got LBJ, we got CDL,
hopefully he becomes that famous. Yeah.
JOK. No, but obviously Chase DeLauder is a huge piece for us. They needed this guy to be healthy, and we've been waiting. So let's hope he can stay healthy. Whatever you got to do, protect this guy at all costs. It would be
great to have some power in this lineup too, with the Ramirez, DeLauder, Ramirez, maybe Reese Hoskins when he's playing. Like to have some guys behind Ramirez that can that people will be afraid of a little bit.
Yeah, that's amazing. Sean Armstrong, fourth highest paid guy on the roster.
That is amazing.
It's sad too.
Yeah. Yep.
Kind of sad there. All right, so let me ask you this because um, last year certainly the Guardians didn't look great, and it wasn't. I mean, obviously the Guardians had to win games, but Detroit blew a 15 and a half game lead and allowed the Guardians to win the division and get into the playoffs. What do you expect out of this year's Guardians team? Do you expect how many? Do you have a win total? Where do you see this going?
So I'm go. They my predictions are second place in the Central behind the Tigers because
All right.
The Tigers got some. I don't know all the details, but they got some strong pitching. It seems like re-signed some of their own guys, so they might be hard to pass. I think we make the wild card and we end up somewhere 10 to 15 games over 500. Is what I'm thinking, and never underestimate the guards. For whatever reason, they're always the youngest team. They always have a low payroll, and somehow they always are competitive. And like they've won those Central Division 3 of the last 4 years, and they've won some playoff series. So
Yeah, and you know what they said? I was listening to ESPN Cleveland. They said they've made the playoffs 7 out of the last 10 years.
that's amazing.
Could you imagine if the Browns had made the playoffs 7 out of 10 years?
Oh, we'd be going crazy.
We would. Man, it would be the happiest place on earth down there.
Yeah.
Instead of the factory of sadness, for crying out loud. But anyway, so all right. So you're predicting about. You said about how many? So
all right, let's go. I'll narrow it down. I'm gonna say 12 games over 500 is what they finish, whatever that record would be.
So 12. That would give them 90. No. So 87, 87 and 75.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and then that's another good stat here from Mike across the pond, Mike from the UK. Only 3 teams have more wins than us in the past 10 years. It's nuts.
That's truly amazing. And they're the high paying teams. It's the Dodgers, the Yankees, and the Astros, I believe. They like quadruple our salary.
And that's gotta change at some point. But we'll save that yelling for another day because it's like yelling into the abyss. It's not going to matter regardless of how frustrated and angering it is. Speaking, so I guess let me give my prediction here because I put you on the spot. You're predicting 87 wins. And wow, I think we are going to be above 500. I feel like the lineup, and I saw someone say this before, now that I'm kind of seeing some things, I feel like the lineup is better than we went into it last year, right? No Nolan Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Mike from across the pond is going 90 and 72. I don't
like
know.
It.
I love it. Let's make that a goal. 90 wins is a goal. I say 90 wins, and I want this division. We started off so crappily. I feel like there's an avenue and a way to do it because the thing that kind of killed Detroit was I think they had a lack of a lack of depth. They did that whole pitching chaos thing and it hurt them. They obviously got us in the play, in the wild card series, the 3-game series, but at the end of the day, I think we've got more depth than them.
Yeah. I know, I agree. And we started playing really well once we let the young guys come up and play in August and September. It's pretty amazing that we lost the 2 pitchers, Clase and Ortiz, and we got even better once they were off the roster, and they were quality pitchers.
Ortiz didn't show much.
Well, Ortiz was average, but Clase, he was still
obviously, he's still, and you never knew which rooster fight he was throwing. Worried about there. So I would like to say I'm going to go. I would like to shoot for the 90 wins in the division. I mean, and finish no worse than second. Does that work? Is that a fair?
I like it.
A fair prediction? Yeah, and we did 88. That's great. Yeah. That is great. All right. Speaking of other teams, one other team in town, real quick here to hit up the Cavaliers. They are in action tonight. They are taking on the Orlando Magic. Both teams are coming in shorthanded. Cavs have not been healthy all season long. Still no Jared Allen, no Jalen Tyson. I believe no CPJ. Let's see. Who do we got? Who else is going to be out for the Cavs? Let's see here. Nance is day to day. Proctor out. Tyson out. Well, no, actually, I say that Proctor was probable for tonight. I don't know if the final injury report is in or at this point, or they've released it. I'm sure they have, but Allen is out. Porter is also out. Kenny Atkinson reported or stated that Jared Allen trending in the right direction. They've been ramping up. So I'm hopeful that he's going to be able to get back out there very soon. I think they said maybe within the next couple games, and that'll at least give him a few weeks of playing with these guys and try to get back into rhythm. At least he's already played, some time with Harden. But again, now you're talking about, while he was playing, Mobley wasn't playing. So now we got to get these guys together. I don't know. And Tyson, they said with a toe, it's going to be a pain tolerance thing. Let's hope it's not a toe injury, as we were discussing, like DG, that required surgery. And the starting five tonight: Mitchell, Harden, Merrill, Wade, and Mobley. And I love. What have you thought of Strus so far in his return? I've been pretty impressed with how well he has just come out and been effective and integrated right into the system, like he hadn't missed a beat much.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. That first game was amazing, and it seems like he hasn't missed a beat. I guess the question going forward is, once he gets a few more games under him, do you put him in the starting lineup, or do you let him be that spark off the bench that we need? Because I kind of like that idea too.
I don't mind it. Okay, so let's say everybody's healthy then. Mm-hmm. Let's just try and give our prediction here, starting five. So it's going to be Mitchell and Harden and Mobley. Now the question is then, so is Allen back in the starting five?
So if you go conventional thinking, I think he is, but
all right,
I wouldn't mind saving him for the bench either.
I wouldn't mind that either, to be quite honest. And I think it might be matchup dependent, but who do you play then at the four? If Allen's not in at the four, do you stick with Wade?
I think you have to, just for size at that point.
Yeah, I think he's becoming an offense. He's too many nights he appears to be an offensive liability while he's good at defense. It's crazy.
Is that okay with Harden and Mobley and Mitchell all in the game? Like,
I think so. I do think we are in it's crazy to say that we're in a far better position now with a worse record than we were last year.
Yeah. I agree.
I know that health has been a main issue. And I feel like if we could just be healthy, we'll be all right. Now, here's a good point. Strus has been on a minutes restriction, hence why he's coming off the bench. So maybe he will get inserted into the starting lineup. Make sure that we are getting off to a strong start. But I don't want – so then who do you plop down, Merrill? Or do you plop down Wade? I don't think you can – I think then if that were the case, if Strus is inserted in the lineup, it's got to be Mitchell, Harden, Strus, Allen, Mobley.
Mitchell, Allen. Say that one more time.
Mitchell and Harden in the backcourt.
Yep.
Strus at the three.
Yeah.
Allen and Mobley, I think, is where you'd have to go. Although you could be able to save that if you took Allen out.
I like splitting up Merrill and Tyson as well. Both good 3-point shooters. I'd rather have like Merrill in the starting lineup and have one of those somebody else come off the bench, and then you have Tyson sub in for Merrill.
Yeah, the issue I think with Merrill is just size.
Yeah,
that's a little bit of it, and then Tyson, he tends to be like fake tough guy, and he talks a good game, but his inexperience shows. He makes some defensive blunders, as we've seen. I love his energy. He just got work to do. And it seemed like he was doing great, and now he's like kind of come back down. He's got the potential. I really like him going forward. It was a heck of a pick, by the Cavs to get him. I really like that acquisition. Taking a look at the standings real quick before we close things out. Detroit remains on top even without Cade Cunningham. Big win last night over the Lakers. They are the only Eastern Conference team to clinch, one of only 3 teams to clinch a playoff spot. Oklahoma City and San Antonio in the Western Conference. Boston, they've cooled down. They are still 5 games behind Detroit. I don't think they're catching them.
No, that'd be real hard.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Drew says he needs Dean Wade to not start anymore. I need him to score. So unless you're going to score, you need to be on the bench. That's kind. I mean, I feel like that's what it is. And Thomas Bryant, good point. Thomas Bryant, he could be play an intricate role. He brings us a level of toughness. He's willing to get down and dirty and gritty, and he comes in and gives you offense too. He's always active.
And that's where Kenny's going to have a hard time. What's the rotation going to look like in the playoffs? Do you stick? Normally it's 8, but we have such talent. Like, can you go 9, 10? And that might seem like too much, but we got players that can play.
What does Wendy always say? He's like, trust 9, play 8. Trust 8, play 7. So, something along those lines. Okay, so thoughts on the Cade Cunningham situation? All right, that's a good question, a fair question. And let's do that before we tell everybody what has us going nuclear. How much do you think this Cade Cunningham, and I don't know if Mike is referring to the injury or the possible issue of him being taken out of consideration for certain awards because he may not hit the game threshold. Like, I think you have to play 65, and he's played 61 so far.
Yeah, well, I'll just go with the injury and how it's going to affect Detroit. I mean, I don't know that much about Detroit. I've been studying, but they don't seem that deep. So you lose your number one player, especially around playoff time. We all know what that's like, being Cavs fans the last few years with all the injuries we've had. I think that's huge. And I think that, yeah, and actually in history has shown too that the number 1 seed in the East actually doesn't do very well. I think the number 2 and 3 seed have made the finals more than the number 1 have over like the last 20 years. So
I'd have to research that for sure. And so Mike clarified he was asking of both. So one, I think that Detroit's going to escape. They're going to be able to finish out the season. They have played now 71. Boston's played 71. 11 games to go. They are up 5 games. I think they'll be able to pull it out. So the magic number would have to be, and I don't know the tiebreakers, it'd have to be 6, right? It would be a combination of 6 wins and losses to get them to clinch the Eastern
Conference. They still have a schedule: Indiana, Charlotte. They're playing Milwaukee, New Orleans. So they got some easy wins.
Yeah, I think they're going to get that. But then Boston, they are only a half game ahead of New York, and I really think that home court is going to matter. I don't think the Cavs are moving out of 4. Let me preface that. I don't think the Cavs are going to move out of 4, barring a collapse from the teams in front of them. And I have no idea, but all right. Cool. I don't know. Anyway, I think that right now, interestingly, as things stand, Toronto would be our opponent as it stands today. They're a half a game ahead of Atlanta. All of a sudden, Atlanta 9-1 in their last 10. Where has this come from?
Great. After they've, thought they were selling at the deadline too.
Exactly. Is it just how bad the Eastern Conference is?
Who knows? I haven't been following them at all.
No, neither have I.
No idea why they're so good. If they just had an easy opponent or what?
Because they got rid of Trae Young.
Yeah,
I think that might be it. Quite frankly.
Yeah.
And Orlando is now at 2 games behind Toronto for the 5 spot. So we were talking just a few days ago about Orlando potentially being our opponent. I think tonight goes a long way. One, you need to beat down Orlando. Got to be tough.
You have to. Yep.
Got to be tough.
Especially after they beat us last time.
We made them look like the best scoring offense in the league. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
You had guys shooting 3-pointers that never shoot 3-pointers. Infuriating. So that being said, hey, we will have to check back in. And there it is. And Orlando has lost 5 straight coming into tonight. We'll see. We shall see how the Cavs do. They won 3 games on the road, none of which were pretty.
Yep.
None of which were pretty. And let's hope we keep things going tonight and do it in a nice way. And that we completely throw the hammer down. And just don't let them even climb back into it. Almost losing a game where we had a 29-point lead in Chicago had me going nuclear, But with that being said, I think that's the perfect segue. Mike, why don't you tell everybody what has you going nuclear today?
It's a nitpicky thing, but since baseball's about to start and I'm really excited for it, and I know probably everybody in Cleveland's really excited for it because there's a lot to be excited for, defending AL Central champs. We're heading out to the West Coast first, though, which means all of the games are super late. So we really don't have an opportunity to watch the guards. I guess, Thursday, Friday, Saturday are all like 10 o'clock starts. You have Sunday's a 7 p.m. start, so that's okay. But then you're back to 10 p.m. starts Monday, Tuesday, and an 8:30 start Wednesday. So it's not till like next Friday till we get to a normal schedule we can start watching the guards. So this West Coast swing to open the season when we're so amped to watch baseball, and it's going to be really hard to stay up that late to watch baseball for another week.
It will be nuclear. Oh man, you know it. That it is very difficult. I'm not much of a night owl anymore. Yeah, just not there. So I get you. Well, I guess I could probably come up with a bunch of things that has me, that have me going nuclear. But quite frankly, I guess what has me going nuclear is that I'm tired.
You're just tired?
I think that's what it is. And I know that's kind of a sad going nuclear, but that's the status of how tired I am. And it's the fact that when you put in tireless effort into things, it takes nothing is given, everything is earned. As the saying has once was said about Cleveland, everything is earned in Cleveland. So I think that along those lines, all the tired, hopefully there's a payoff, but all the hard work and the effort definitely it makes me tired, and being tired, makes me go nuclear. And this is an excellent going nuclear topic as well. Ty Simpson talk. All right, Mike, don't get me started on that because now you're going to get me angry. If I hear Dan Orlovsky and these guys who are we serious that we're going to listen to Mike Tannenbaum? We're going to listen to that jackalope and Dan Orlovsky. Great. You didn't do squat except for have a highlight of running out of the back of the end zone for a safety. And I'm sorry. Now all of a sudden Ty Simpson is the man? Are you serious? Dude, you got to stop. And again, anytime Mike Tannenbaum wants to weigh in on something and thinks it's a good idea and agrees with it, it's trash.
I think Mike Tannenbaum has you going nuclear.
That guy doesn't have a job for a reason. He and previously, what's his name? Who's the goofball guy? That I'm trying to think. Rex Ryan with his terrible fake chiclets.
Yeah.
Anytime those guys start talking, and then you bring in a guy like Banner or Lombardi, or forget it. Just forget. I immediately tune out of those guys. So thanks a lot, Mike. And yes, and as well, our Tottenham Hotspurs. They have us all Tottenham fans going nuclear. It's the most Cleveland, Premier League team I've ever seen, and it's perfectly fitting that it was, I was born into it. So all those things have me going nuclear. All those things. So Mike, have a great trip. We will not be on next week, but we will plan to return in a couple of weeks from now. Have safe travels. All right.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Be looking forward to a little time off and talking some guards when we get back.
Absolutely.
Playoff basketball.
We will be we'll recap the Final Four at that point when we get back. So there will be a lot to talk about when we get back. Mike, safe travels. Good luck at the airport. And we will talk to you. We will be in touch with you, and we will look forward to being back in a couple of weeks. So,
all right.
For Mike Rasinski, I'm Ethan Greenberg, and you've been tuned in to Going Nuclear, full-blown coverage of the land.